Folks, welcome into SportsBookReview.com. Major League Baseball on a Tuesday. Who says no? Some afternoon action, a full slate tonight, digging in and trying to get some of these W's across the card. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz along with Kyle Purviance. We are the Major League Baseball team that you need to put that information in your mind, to get that money and put it in your pocket. Jason, yesterday, we're going to lead off right away. Those Phillies, right? Loved them. You loved them.
Yeah, of course that happens. Another Jacob deGrom day, another wasted day for the Mets. But just happy being able to watch them. I know they'll be fine. They'll be a good team. I'm not worried about the bullpen. I know I saw a lot of Twitter hating on the bullpen early. It's the first game. Things will get better. I'm not too worried, but it was fun nonetheless.
Mets will be fine. And we did recommend yesterday, and just talking before the show, all three of us, you have to be an insane person to take Jacob deGrom in a full game situation. What are you doing if you lost that game yesterday? First 5 innings, deGrom, get in, get out, sit back and relax at that point. Kyle, welcome into the show. It's early out there. I saw like a little Modelo action going on, which is par for the course.
It's beautiful spring day. You know, those hectic mornings, it might seem early, but it feels like it's like 7 o'clock at night already but no, I'm really excited for today, and I felt bad for Jason the way that went down yesterday. I really did, and I knew Donnie was going to the first place Phillies. Here we go. But I'm excited for today, and I think there's some good spots today. We got a ton of games, so we got, you can really sort of pick out your spots, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be good today. Thank you guys for tuning in. A lot of support for the show early on here, doing well. Yesterday, another team total came in for me with the Toronto Blue Jays in the afternoon, and those are nice. You gamblers out there know. You have your best bet of the day that's already cleared through by about 5:30, 6 o'clock. That is fantastic stuff. You can sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the night. A lot of our looks did come in yesterday. Thank you guys for tuning in. As I said, 84,400 people have hit the subscribe button here on SportsBookReview.com, right here on our YouTube channel. If you haven't done so yet, please do that. If it's grayed out, fantastic. If it is red, that means you haven't done your job yet. Click that, turn it gray, hit the notification bell. Every time we go live to talk Major League Baseball, we will be able to get after it. Yesterday, we had the speed burst through the end of the show, so we're not going to waste any time and get right in after it. Again, the part that we love about this show starts at 2:30. Sometimes you have day Major League Baseball action in play, which we also have today. Any thoughts early on? Because talking before the show, we're always, fair and truthful. I really did like the Detroit Tigers team total in this game. Currently getting shut out right now, Jason. If we look at the lines here, I'm just looking at FanDuel's live numbers. Minnesota Twins -1.5, -104. The money line for this game, the Twins -205, the Tigers +168 with an over-under of 6.5. Any thoughts on this early game here, Jason?
So I gave out Tigers over team total 3.5, like you alluded to.
Yeah.
I mean, the Tigers last year, they were fantastic against lefties. J.A. Happ's not, just your average lefty. He's a little bit better, but I figured, new team, maybe he'll struggle a little bit, and the Tigers will get going. Some of these bats have just struggled throughout the entire season so far, like Willie Castro, for example, a guy that really did well versus lefties last year. He's like 2 of 18 to start the season. Yeah. But it's only the 4th inning, plenty of time. Just need a grand slam. That's all we need. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited to watch the end of this game. But, I need the Tigers to start hitting the ball.
Trapbox firing in already. Over 100 people watching the show about 2 minutes in. Thank you guys for doing that. Going to get to some information here for you, Kyle, looking at this game in the afternoon. And I want to preface this by saying we're always open to new ideas. And what I mean by that is if you are a sports gambler, we didn't have these opportunities even in the past like 2 to 3 years here of betting live. Case in point last night, and Jason will tell you, the minute deGrom comes out of the game, it's 2-0 with the New York Mets. I'm not saying take the Phillies and the Mets weren't going to win that game, but the live over-under in that game was 3.5. Figuring if the Phillies tied it at 2, you automatically won that bet. If the Mets hit a solo home run, the Phillies scored a meaningless run in the bottom of the 9th, you won that as well. Always keep yourself open to these opportunities. And the reason I asked that, Kyle, is now we're sitting at a 6.5 here in the Minnesota Twins Detroit Tigers game. We're in the 4th inning. Let's just say if it stays 1-0 and you get to the 7th inning, now you're looking at like a 4 or a 3.5. Always keep these opportunities up. But just looking at this early game, Kyle, any thoughts here on where you might be leaning in this one? Or it's like, you know what? Need to see a little bit more before I can get down in this one.
Yeah, and full disclosure, I saw Jason's tweet, and I was this close to just piggybacking, going, I like the same exact thing. So I would have been wrong. I'm glad I didn't at this point. It feels good right now because, we sort of talked about this yesterday when we were talking about these same two teams, right? there was a ton of runs already scored. So we're like, well, maybe you take the over now because this is a blowout and they're not going to throw their best guys out there. When it's 1-0, 2-1, they are going to throw their best guys out there. So then that starts to change things a little bit. I'd probably want to see a little more. I guess right now, if I would just lean, I guess I would. It's only a 1-run game, so I would take the plus money if I'm a gambling man and going to bed. I'm staying away from it, of course I'm not. But for me, when it's 1 run and you're getting a nice juicy number, I take it and let the chips fall where they may. I don't think the Twins are over dominant. I don't think the Tigers are very good either. But it is just one of those deals where I would just sort of take the value there. But it's always fun to do that. We'll keep an eye on it throughout the show.
No, we certainly were. Leadoff man is on in the bottom of the 4th inning, and as I know, Jason is in action on this game, so we'll root that on. If anything big comes up here, we'll certainly keep you updated. But let's get right into the show, boys. Braves and the Nationals afternoon. Took a while for the Nationals to actually take the field. Who they're taking the field with, your guess is as good as mine, but obviously I know that the rosters are out. It's just being facetious with this. Atlanta and Washington, 153 we opened up at Pinnacle. That line drops to 117. Not because Max Scherzer's got pulled or Max Scherzer's hurt. It's because a lot of players are out of the lineup today for the Washington Nationals. But contrarians will tell you that now is their value on the Washington Nationals. Jason, going to start with you first. Opened up at 8.5, now down to 7.5. Early thoughts on the Atlanta Braves and the Washington Nationals today?
I highly doubt we're going to see much scoring in this game. You have Scherzer on the mound, and you have Smiley on the mound, and I think Smiley of old is a different Smiley that pitched last year. Last year, he was pretty good. 5 games started, so it's not a huge sample size, but 5 games started, averaged 14.35 strikeouts per 9 innings, limited walks to about 3 per 9. Home runs were under 0.7 per 9, and left on base about 70%, and ground ball rate was high enough at 42%, and his FIP was 2.01. So this is a guy, if he can get strikeouts and limit the walks and keep the ball in play, he's going to do pretty well this year. And going up against the Nationals team, hasn't started a game yet. Could be interesting there. But of course, Max Scherzer on the mound for the Washington Nationals, and with Scherzer, it's going to be hard to score as well. So if I had to predict, I would lean towards the under 4 in the first 5 innings. You can get that at plus 100 I saw earlier. And I don't really have a lean for either team. I think it's going to be a close game, and we'll see what happens. I just don't know how the Nationals are going to play this game, and it could be the same scenario as what happened to the Mets yesterday.
Juan Soto is going to have to put him on his back today, but you're right. You're looking at the numbers from last year, and sometimes you do that. You ever see like people say, all right, I'm going to take the face out of this, just going to give you stats. You tell me which pitcher is which. Drew Smiley he only had 26 in the third innings last year, 7 games, 5 of those starts. He was absolutely outrageous. An FIP of 201, an xFIP of 256. We'll see if that continues this year, but I always like to say, it is Drew Smiley. We don't anticipate that it is going to continue, but he is going to go against a light lineup today with the Nationals, Kyle. My mind works in devious ways. I'm the type, because some people will run and say, I got to grab Atlanta. Look at this. This is ridiculous. Yep. I wait for that line to drop all the way down, and then I get one of these going, you know what? Now's the time to look at the Nationals, Kyle. What are you thinking? Time to look at the Nationals or the Braves still? More loaded.
I think I like the Nationals more than most people today. I really do. I like their team total over 3.5. First of all, let's talk about Drew Smiley. Just the way he spells his last name really bugs me for some reason. It's like,
why they can't hit him.
It's like when my kids were 3 years old and they would spell Kyle Cile because it just sounds that way, and it was totally wrong. That's what his last. Anyways, it just bothers me for some reason. But no, the Phillies actually the Nationals actually have a decent. It's a small sample size. They're 5 of 11 lifetime, but I like the advantages here. I like Trey Turner to go yard. It's one of my favorite home run props today. I think he goes opening day. I think they've been chomping at the bit. You give me Scherzer versus Smiley. I think Scherzer is exponentially the better pitcher. When you just look at the splits for the Braves lineup against Scherzer, 41 of 181 lifetime, 227 average. That's a good sample size. That's something we can get behind. You look at his last 5 starts against Atlanta, only 1 time did he take the loss, was pretty effective in the other 4. The one game was 3 games ago. I feel like they're chomping at the bit. They know they're shorthanded. They know who's been out this entire time. We haven't known. We just sort of found out today, right, late yesterday, as they start releasing these players are going to be out, this guy's out. But the team knew, right? They're either at practice or in the Zoom meeting looking around going, oh, yeah, Yan Gomes, he's not here. Yep, he's the COVID guy. There you go. So even if the team didn't tell them, they know. And I think they're going to come out motivated today. I like their team total over 3.5, and I really like them first 5. I think Scherzer shuts down the Braves first 5 innings. Might be all the innings you get, just like DeGrom yesterday, a 77 pitch count. You might see that with Scherzer as well early in the year. Take it easy on some of their aces. So he could be pulled 5th or 6th, so I wouldn't go full game on this. I like the first 5, and I like the team total for the Nationals.
1-1 now here as we had a double in the gap for the Detroit Tigers. So it's the 1 out, 1 man on second, 1-1 here. This is where these games can flow. When you're taking a look at a team total, it never is lost on me. 2-2 heading in the extra innings. I don't care if that run line that you have is 3.5, 4.5, or 5.5. You're going to have a legitimate shot at catching that. We'll see it, keep you updated on that. Some of the updated lines, the 6.5s that we're looking at now, it's 7.5s, and now the Tigers back down to a minus 114 as we keep an eye. Now, looking at this early game that we have, Atlanta and Washington, I'm going to just go quickly with you, Jason. Are we just moronic if we want to take Max Scherzer full game? Like, wouldn't the play to be like, let me get Max in and out at 5? If they're not winning with Max Scherzer after 5 innings, they probably won't win. Is that the way to approach this type of game here?
How many times have we seen these big stud pitchers pitch and then lose their full game? Kershaw, Cole, DeGrom. I mean, the list probably goes on. I can't think of the top of my head. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I think –
no, come on! Don't forget the Phillies, Jason. Keep going.
Yeah, I would just say if you're going to look at the taking Scherzer to the Nationals, just go first 5. I wouldn't play around, especially just not knowing too much about the Nationals just yet. They haven't played in quite some time.
And I'm getting an update here faster than my TV. Looks like we had a 2-1 score right now. Let me see if it comes through. I don't know. It does say 2-1. So either I'm way behind or FanDuel is messing around right now. So
we're still swinging.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see any. I see the 1-1 here.
He's splashing the pot. You're getting the pot splashed on you. Trust me, that happened to me every Monday night. The entire football season.
No, they make a lot of mistakes. These because the live betting is like pitch to pitch. There is relatively new on that, so it still says 2-1. And there's no way I'm 30 seconds behind or a minute and a half or 2 minutes behind on this. We'll see if it does change because it can get to 2-1 since there is 2 outs, obviously with a man on second. But we'll see what happens here. Let's keep moving forward, boys. Let's head back to the city of brotherly love. Didn't look good last night, 2-0. Hey, Phillies, DeGrom comes out of the game, and you know what happens in every sport? You guys have played sports, whether or not you're checking out in the chat box or us on the panel here. A really dominant player exits the game and doesn't come back in like, oh, man, thank God. Let me just go see what I can do now. And the Phillies pile 5 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning and end up with a victory. So if we set the table today, Stroman's going to be on the mound. And this is a guy that's interesting because he's a really talented pitcher. And I know Jason's a Mets fan. It hurts last year when he basically used the system to say he's going to play, then not play, then opt out to make sure he gets the extra year towards free agency, then signs back in. So I know a lot of Mets fans can follow around Twitter. Hey, we like Marcus Stroman. What dude did us dirty last year when we really needed the guy, but he's going to take the mound today going up against Anderson. Opened up at minus 137 at Pinnacle offshore. That's actually dropped down to minus 122. Over under staying at 9 even across the board. I have 3 team totals that I'm looking at on the card today, and I'm going to let Jason start. There's a team total in this game that I do like here. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, so I have nothing against Stroman. He's a businessman, just like everyone playing in the game. I still appreciate him. I think, like you said, he's a great pitcher. Obviously, we don't have stats from him last year, so that kind of hurts when looking at what the Phillies can do against the Mets here in terms of hitting in the first 5 innings. But we shook out 9 batters per 9 innings. And it looks like we got runners on the corners for the Tigers as I give play-by-play here. Walks were 3.5 per 9, home runs 1.2 per 9 in 2019 with the Mets. He has 3.77 ERA. It wasn't terrible. So I think we're going to get good stuff out of him. And I think the bullpen will obviously get better as the season progresses. Now, on the other hand, you have Anderson, who was with Toronto last year, now with the Phillies. His strikeouts were high, walks were low, really great and all, until you look at his home runs. He allowed 3 home runs per 9 innings, struggled with guys on base, didn't get many ground balls, ERA 7.22, FIP 6.16. So, the Mets lineup should do damage against Chase Anderson here. And I would expect Stroman to at least put up a solid performance. So I like the Mets here as well. I think if we're going to look at a guy that's going to hit a home run on the Mets, it would be Dom Smith. Obviously he wasn't able to play yesterday because of lefty-righty split, all that good stuff. But he'll be in the lineup today, and I think that he's got a really good matchup here, as I'm sure Kyle will get to. And also, I like the Mets team total over 4.5. I'm not taking it. You guys will know that I don't really like to bet my own team, but we have a couple other fellas that might want to look at this one.
I love betting against my teams. I'm going to do it in just a few moments here, at least, give an opinion on that. But Jason is right. Looking at the lineup here, Chase Anderson on the mound. Last year, if we take a look at his lefty-righty splits, he got crushed by lefties. And good for the Mets here today, lefty in Nimmo, lefty in Lindor, lefty in Conforto, lefty in Smith, and lefty in McNeil. That's 5 out of the 8 eligible batters coming from the left-hand side. Yep. Kyle, looking at this game here, bounce back for the New York Mets here, or are we saying that Phillies bullpen is tough? They should be able to shut it down. If you can't win with DeGrom, you're not going to win tonight with Stroman on the mound. I see it a little bit different ways. Not great hitting conditions, but decent weather here in Philadelphia, Kyle.
Sure. And I see what you did there. I'm not going to call the Phillies bullpen great just yet. A few good games. It's legendary. Little early, but they have, and we talked about this in our future show. If the Phillies bullpen pitches well, they're going to win a lot of games because they can score runs. So this is another one. I actually like the over in this game. I like both teams' team total to go over. I think the Phillies go over 3.5 and the Mets go over 4.5. So again, when you're, making your bets, actually the Phillies moved to 4. And so there's the risk of the push certainly there, but I would still go the over because I expect them to get 5 runs. So you want your bets to tell a story. I think this is a game in DFS you can stack. You touched on it. Those lefties for the Mets, a ton of upside and value. They're not overly expensive on DraftKings or FanDuel. And same with the Phillies. And I still like Bryce. A lot of the Phillies have nice splits here as well. I do think they can hit Stroman. Now, I know, Stroman was out. We're just going to have to see what he looks like. But again, we just saw the Mets bullpen fall apart yesterday. Even if Stroman's pitching that well, we're seeing what teams are doing. They're not throwing these guys complete game, 8-inning, 9-inning shutouts. That's not what they're doing. They're throwing them 5 innings, giving them 75 to 80 pitches, maybe 90 pitches. They're pulling them out of the game, and they're relying on the bullpen. So even if they only get 1 or 2 runs early, it was at 3.5, now it's at 4. I think you get both team totals here. I love both sides of this in daily fantasy for DraftKings and FanDuel, except for the pitchers, staying away from both pitchers. But yeah, I like both upside, and Phillies 3.5 seems too easy to me. I like the Phillies to get 4 runs at least today.
Yeah, it should be an interesting game to watch, see how it plays out, because the Phillies, as we said, are pretty hot here to start the season. If you're going to have 4 games against the NL East and the teams that you figured would have been the division leaders and come out with 4 victories, that certainly works. The Philadelphia Phillies lineup is out today. Joyce, Bohm, Harper, Realmuto, Gregorius, Segura, Miller, and Quinn in the lineup tonight. We'll see how that plays out later. And as I said, there's 3 games I have circled. My best bet will come later. It's going to come from one of these 3, but I do like the New York Mets team total over 4.5 minus 113. That is on my board as we continue to move down the list of these premier games, 909, 910. Let's keep going. Milwaukee and Chicago. And it looks like Peralta and Aloze. How about that one? Sounds like an
Aloze. Right here. Some Aloze. Let's go.
Yeah, there we go. Pinnacle opened up at minus 104. Not a lot of movement here, but right around a pick 'em both ways in this game. Seems like every game between Milwaukee and Chicago is turning up to be that pick 'em type of number. Opened up at 9.5, now down to 9. I don't have a read on either one of these 2 teams early, and neither do I today. Jason, help me out here. What are we looking forward to in the Milwaukee-Chicago game today?
Both these pitchers are really, really talented, both extremely erratic as well. They can strike you out. They can also walk you a ton. So it's going to be a great game. It's going to be really fun. But yes, I agree. It is really a pick-em. One thing that we can kind of point out, Peralta a little bit more unlucky last year. Alzole probably a little bit more lucky last year. So if you wanted to go that route, you look at the Brewers. Obviously, the better lineup is with the Cubs. So this is an interesting game. It's going to be a lot of strikeouts, a lot of walks. Runners will be on base, so maybe the over, but also both these pitchers can definitely wipe you out and strike you out punty. So I wouldn't touch this game. Had the under in the first 5 innings yesterday. I could see that happening again, but also I could see I could see a bunch of runners running around the bases all game in this one as well. So it's going to be an interesting one for sure.
You guys hear me talk a lot about plus hitters and negative hitters in the lineup. It's just simple to me. I like to take a look at ISO power numbers and weighted on base average. Now, I'm going to preface this and throw this over to Kyle, but before I do that, going up against right-handed batters, this is Milwaukee based on last year and just a couple games cutting into this year. The weighted on base average, again, the median in the the American League and also the National League, 320. That's the median. Do more than that, you're above average. Do less, you're below average. The team that's supposed to take the field today for the Milwaukee Brewers, Not a single above average hitter. So how am I leaning towards? Is this just contrarian?
Right.
Weighted on base averages, Kyle. 311, 287, 295, 265, 313, 264, 290, and 260. Are we just being quote unquote sharp and taking the Brewers because they stink and there's no way they should win? Help me out here.
Yeah, no, I like the Cubs. I like the Cubs quite a bit. And in terms of DraftKings, if we're just touching on DFS, the only one of these two pitchers you would even consider playing is Alizé. We're calling him Alizé from now on. I know that's
that is his name, by the way.
His name is Alizé. I don't give a damn what anybody says. That is his name. But he's just more prone. First of all, his last two starts, he's pitched 9 innings, 72 combined fantasy points. It tells me they're letting him get to the 5th inning. They're letting him maybe get to the 6th inning. That's not what Freddie Peralta does. He's going to get 2, maybe 3 innings. So you can't even consider him anyways in DFS. But then when you look at the splits, you're right. These Brewers hitters do not have nice splits against this Cub team. And I think the Cubs' first 5 makes a whole bunch of sense. I think you get the advantage early on here with the starting pitching. Ride that through the first 5 innings. Let whatever the hell happens in the back end of this game happen. But I like the Cubs' first 5. And really, I'd probably lean to them for the whole game. But the problem is they won yesterday, and we know it's the Cubs, and they like to just do these crazy things, right? We'll probably talk about that every single day this year, where they just do weird things and they disappear, sort of like LaMarcus Aldridge on the basketball court. Very, very similar. I'll take the Cubs' first 5 here, and the only pitcher you're pitching is Alizé.
57 thumbs up. Thank you guys for that. And somebody made a comment here in the chat box that the graphics are on point. I'm not going to take it. I like to take credit for a lot of things, but I cannot take credit for that. That's the boys behind the scenes making it work at sportsbookreview.com. Esteban behind the wheels of steel here, and the rest of the fellas. Thank you for making us look good in these pictures. Let's keep moving forward here. Good game out night tonight. 9:27, 9:28. Los Angeles Dodgers and the Oakland Athletics. We did a future show not too long ago, and I'm like, hey man, Oakland, I think they could take the West. Look, they've played a tough. You get the Astros out of the gate, and then you get the Dodgers out of the gate. You got to at least hold your own. You can't just get whitewashed completely out of the picture. But as we take a look tonight, the interesting part here, Clayton Kershaw in elevation, roughed up versus Colorado. Now not in elevation, obviously here on the West Coast. Opened up at minus 169, still sitting at that same number. 8 and 8, opened up at 8 as a total. Now sits at 8.5. Are we jumping on Clayton Kershaw because that's an aberration because he was in Colorado and just couldn't get anybody out? Or is this more of the norm here? We might take a little bit of a step back. But the one thing I know, going against Dodger bats, that's not good for your bankroll here, Kyle. Or excuse me, Jason. Not good.
Yeah, so look, Oakland way worse against lefties compared to righties last year. And now they go against one of the best lefties in all of baseball, in Kershaw, in a pitcher-friendly ballpark. So yeah, I like Kershaw and the Dodgers in this one. The strikeout prop was a little bit too high, in my opinion. So if I were to look at like a lean, it would be the Dodgers minus 0.5 in the first 5. Now don't get me wrong, Bassett's not a bad pitcher at all, but I mean this Dodgers lineup is just incredible. They can kill you on the right side, the left side doesn't matter. They got it. Right. They got all the pieces for everything. That's why they're the World Series champions. So I like the Dodgers minus 0.5 in the first 5 innings. I think Kershaw has a really good day today, and I wouldn't be surprised if he strikes out a bunch of batters as well.
I mean, that's the way I would be looking at this game. It's either going to be Dodgers or nothing, and especially I love the Dodgers when they play in an American League park, and you get 9 batters up with no pitcher. Certainly helps them out in that environment. Kyle, looking at this game out of the Oakland Coliseum, Dodgers and the Athletics, what are you looking at here?
Yeah, and I completely agree. It's Dodgers or nothing here. Actually, when I was talking about the 3rd lowest weighted OPS in terms of pitching advantage versus the projected lineup today, the lowest on this slate in terms of starting pitchers who will go 4 more innings is Clayton Kershaw. I love Chris Bassett as well. You remember the future show? I thought he could be a deep sleeper for the Cy Young. I love this kid, but the Dodgers aren't the lineup to do it. We're talking about even when you're not facing the left-handed pitching for the Dodgers, you're looking at guys like Betts who hit righties better than lefties, much significantly better. His weighted OPS over the last 3 years is literally double that of what it is versus lefties. Will Smith, 20 points higher. Justin Turner, 16 points higher. So you just go down the list, and then you finally get to a lefty, Max Muncy, who actually hits lefties a little bit better, ironically enough. But just say there's no break in this Dodgers lineup. I think Kershaw has the advantage all over the place. I like the Dodgers in DFS. I like Kershaw in DFS. Take the Dodgers first 5. Again, I'm not going to mess with the bullpen. Even though if there is one team whose bullpen you can sort of trust, it's the Dodgers. If it's a close game, Jansen's going to get it done for you. But I'll take the Dodgers first 5 as well. I agree with Jason and Donnie. I agree with you both.
Let's go around the MLB board, and we are going to hit some of these games. And, of course, the much-anticipated bets on the board we'll get to later. And also, hopefully today we will have enough time to clear the bases, hit the chat box, and have a little bit of fun here. Another game in the afternoon, 9:17, 9:18. This is a West Coast game, so 1 o'clock first pitch out there, 4:07 on the East Coast. Greinke and Bundy opens up at -110 here at Pinnacle Offshore. Roughly the same, -105s across the board, -102s across the board. Opens up at 9 as a total, still sitting at 9. Some late inning fireworks in this series so far. Are we going to see more today in this game, Jason? Do you have a side? Because look, looks like a coin flip here on the line, according to the odds makers.
Yeah, look, I agree. It is a coin flip, in my opinion. And, I was a big fan of Bundy last year. I thought he pitched really well. I thought he was really the ace of the staff. And, Greinke, this is a guy that sometimes will get hit a little bit hard. And we know that the Angels have some bats that hit with hard contact. Guys like Walsh, Trout, Rendon, even like Stassi, for example. All of these guys are more than capable of getting hits off of Greinke. We saw Greinke last year struggle a little bit early, allowed a lot of hard contact. And I just think Bundy's going to have a little bit better of a day here. But again, it really is a pick-em, and it can definitely go either way. I just think I like the Angels lineup more in this game if I had to choose. But the Astros have obviously been really good lately, and the lineup's been really good too.
Yeah, the one thing that we look at, if it's Zach Greinke, based on, we can only go back a year and a half, what we're looking at, struggled a little bit with right-handed batters. We do know that the Los Angeles Angels can put some hammers up at the plate from the right-hand side. Kyle, taking a look at this game, early afternoon start in this one, total of 9. Any hot bats in this lineup, or maybe a side that you're looking at in this game?
There's a lot of hot bats in this lineup. The Angels combined lineup tonight, 38-116 lifetime. You've got 4, 5, 6 guys with an advantage on Houston against. So the over sort of makes a lot of sense here. Picking a side, really difficult on this one. I think both teams can put up runs. I'm looking at the over in this game. I don't have a bet on it personally, but I think you can stack both sides, Trout, etc. for the Angels, and Bregman, Altuve, etc. with the Astros. Like both sides of this, and I think there's some runs scored in this game.
Absolutely. And Arthur says out there, Al Bundy is pitching tonight in this game. I do have it. I know he's asking, Vitel's asking who's pitching for the Angels. He has Canning listed. I still have Bundy listed on most of my stuff here. I thought I had Canning too,
but I assume you guys must have known. Yeah, I had Canning too. But
on the app, it says Bundy right here.
Okay, there we go.
Hey, that's always something to keep an eye on in baseball.
It sure
that's going to happen. Not as much as the NBA, right?
So. Yeah.
No, very good. So it looks like we're on the same page. Game starts in about maybe an hour, so coming up there on first pitch. I don't have much of a feel in that game. Like to me, it's a coin flip type of game. I have a couple other games that I certainly like a little bit better. And we're talking about a segue here, 6:35 p.m. Eastern time, 9:19, 9:20. That is the Baltimore Orioles and the New York Yankees. I thought the Yankees could get off the schneid at the plate yesterday, and they did, courtesy of certainly some extra help from a grand slam yesterday. The Twin Towers both going deep yesterday. If we take a look at the line today, opened up at 274, Pinnacle now up to almost 300, so paying $3 for a Garrett Cole start here. Kremer's got some decent strikeout numbers, but on my board, one of the games I did circle here, New York Yankees team total over 4.5, -128. Jason, I'll start with you in the Bronx. We continue hitting today or what? What are we looking at?
I'm laughing at this game because I got burned on it plenty of times with this Dean Kremer guy. I got burned so many times. Look, he has an ERA of 4.82, FIP of 2.76, and he's had some solid games low key somehow, some way. Strikes out 10.6 batters per 9. The walks get high, but for some reason this guy always pitches somewhat decent. I get out of trouble or whatever. So would I recommend spending -300 for the Yankees? Absolutely not. Not against this guy because he's already burned me plenty of times, and I don't want you guys get burned. Of course, today he's going to go and lay an egg. But either way, obviously the Yankees are a much better team here. Their offense hasn't showed it yet, but they'll be there. They'll be fine. Obviously, got 2 home runs from the 2 big boys in the lineup yesterday. Hopefully, that means the Yankees are starting to figure out offensively. I saw they're getting Odor now. Put him in the lineup. I think Gio's hurt, so lots of interesting things going on with New York. But again, this Kremer guy, he's burned me a couple times, so I'm staying away completely, and I do not recommend -300 for the Yankees.
Yeah, with Kremer, or however you pronounce this guy's name, his strikeout rate is pretty good. It's almost 27%. And as you know, that's one of those statistics that you look at. If a pitcher is able to dig down and bail out, second and third one out, able to get a strikeout, that is massive. But when you take a look at that Yankees lineup versus right-handed pitching, they should be able to do damage. Kyle, what are we looking at here in the Bronx today from you?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Yankees, and that's the play, but the number just sucks. So, and just to touch on Jason's point, the same thing happened to me. And Kramer, in fact, his last two starts last year against the Yankees, a 46 and a 33, massive fantasy outings, like legitimately striking players out, giving up no runs. And then, of course, you got Garrett Cole. So, honestly, I'm staying away from this game, but if I was going to bet it, I might take the under 4.5 first 5 innings total for the game. I think these two pitchers if Kramer does anything like he's been doing, which is hilarious that Jason brought up, because that's the first thing I thought about too, like bleep this guy. It was like, that is the last name I wanted to see early on in alphabetical order for Baltimore is Dean Kramer, son of a bitch, right? I mean, that's what went through my head. It literally is what went through my head. I'll lean the under first 5, 4.5, but overall the number's not good enough. You don't trust Baltimore, of course, because the Yankees can just smash at any time. And the numbers is too juiced up for the Yankees to take. Under 4.5, I guess first 5 would be my lean if I was going to bet it.
And it is. I mean, you're taking a look at $3 here as a price. You know, FanDuel minus 300, Chris minus 290, Bet 365 minus 300. You never get, especially when Cole is on the mound. It's run lines are even, not even worth it at this point. And that's why, again, if you're looking for a big win at the Yankees today, what would be more surprising? 2-1 Yankees win, or the Yankees put up 6 runs in this game? So if you say the Yankees are going to put up even 5 runs, you're betting it at minus 128 that basically they are going to win the game. It sort of correlates. Why would you take a minus 300 when if the Yankees can just get the 5, you get the minus 128? It's almost the same as having a de facto run line, but you don't have to worry about whether or not what the other team even does or is even competitive in the ball game, or if Garrett Cole pulls a hamstring in the second inning, who gives a damn? Because you got the team total on the opposite side. So just some food for thought as we keep moving on here. But 3 games on the card, as I said. Both teams in New York, I've circled. Find out which one of these best bets going to come in, because I do have one more a little bit later tonight as we go. Let's take a look at St. Louis and Miami. 903, 904. Opened up as a slight favorite to St. Louis with Gant on the mound. Now we're taking a look at a minus 126 to Alcantara for the Miami Marlins. Over-under opened up at 8, now down to 7.5. What are we looking at from your perspective, Jason, in this game down in South Florida?
I can't say that I would be on Gant at this point. So I guess the only play for me would be taking Miami here with Sandy Alcantara on the mound. This is a guy that I think there were a lot of high expectations for the guy coming in into the season. Gets a solid ground ball rate. Strikeouts look like they might be getting higher. This year, walks could be down. Home runs are always down. Batting average of balls in play were already down. So I think there's good looks here with Alcantara. And we talked about this yesterday. The Cardinals, so for some reason, they have terrible weighted OBA. They have terrible everything against righties. And it just doesn't make any sense. But, if anything, I would be on the Marlins first 5, minus 115. Take that F5 money line. If it's a tie, you get the push. If the Marlins win, you're good. But right now, I mean, the Cardinals, on paper, they look like a solid offense, but when you look at the analytics and you dig deeper, it's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, the numbers have been ugly in this series because as handicappers, we're trying to base it off of future projections, and sometimes you look at the lineups and be like, "Yep, that looks like a pretty good lineup." Then you look at the numbers and say, "Wait, is this wrong? Is this just errors that I'm actually looking at?" And you're talking about playing in a ballpark that's not really inviting to scoring runs, particularly by the long ball. It's a tough series for me to get my eye around because me being a team total or over guy, it's not where I look. Kyle, any thoughts here on this game in South Florida tonight?
It's a game. Alcantara, I have some exposure to him in DFS. I do think he can get it done. When you look at the Cardinals lineup against him, only 3 players actually have a plus advantage, and none of them are over 20%. So this is one of the weaker sort of advantages when you just break it down that way in terms of that number. And there's some value on Miami. Alfaro, Anderson, I think you can get them at a very nice price in DFS if you're looking to one-off somebody. Brian Anderson at 2,700 on FanDuel, 55% advantage here, has some home run power. I don't mind that. Or Alfaro, who you can get at 2,300 on FanDuel. So if you want to one-off a couple of guys, I'd go Marlins. Other than that, pretty ugly. I'm going to stay away from it. And I had one question for the chat box. Someone was saying NRFI, asking for, maybe I'm old and boring. I don't know what an NRFI is.
No runs first inning.
Oh, no runs first inning.
Yeah, Kyle, you're old. See that?
See, there you go. Okay, I'll think about that in the future, and I'll add some of those things. You could take probably Baltimore no runs no runs first inning in that Baltimore Yankees game. I think you could probably do that and get a nice number.
Guy was spamming the chat box, so he was serious about it.
Yeah, I didn't even know what the hell he was talking about. I was lost.
Not too much here. But by the way, guys, if you can't get enough baseball information about us three knuckleheads talking about it, you can hit a link below, sbrpicks.com/MLB. Jason's write-ups are there, videos are there, designed to make you a better in Major League Baseball. Let's continue as we move down the card today. 9:05, 9:06, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Cahill versus the lefty Miley on the mound opened up at -143 as a favorite towards the Reds. That has now increased to -153 and even higher at other outlets. Over/under opened up at 9, still sitting at 9 in that range. Not dominating pitching here, but anytime you're looking at a total and we include the Pittsburgh Pirates, you say, whoo, watch out what you're trying to get yourself into here. So we're going to talk about this game and break it down. Any ideas on which way to go in this game here, Jason, between Pittsburgh and Cincinnati for you?
Yeah, see, I like the Pirates pitching, but I don't like their hitting. So that's what kind of drives me off this game. So maybe I would go under in the first 5 innings, but nothing really stands out here. We'll see. There's other games on the slate that I think are have more potential that I would choose.
If we take a look at this game here and get underway, Kyle, we're looking at Cahill and the splits for him. xFIP very high last year. Right-handed batters smacked him around, but you're going to get some lefties in the lineup here. Naquin, Votto, Moustakas, and Barnhart from the left-hand side, which Cahill, being a right-handed pitcher, actually did much better against lefties than he did righties. Yeah. You're looking at the weighted on base average. Castellanos 356, Votto 338, Suarez 342, Moustakas 364. When I look at stacks and DFS lineups, that's what I like. If you have 4 hitters that rake against a certain pitcher, stack them up there. Are we looking at any hot bats in the lineup or even a way to bet this game from your perspective here?
Yeah, I like the Reds. I also like the Reds' first 5. And you're right, the advantages are all there. And Moustakas, smaller sample size. Again, 7 at-bats in baseball is nothing, okay? That's, a couple of games you've played against him. It's not. But in those 2 games, 5 of 7, a home run, a double, a few singles. So there's a lot of good hitting advantages here, even at the bottom of the order, leading into the lead. India and Naquin, leading into Naquin. All of those guys have nice lineups. So I think the Reds were going to be my sneaky stack of the day. I think they're a nice DFS stack, and I'll lean the Reds in this game. And it's just the Pirates. But I do agree with Jason. If we could find the prop, the strikeout prop, because he is right, there is potential for that too. It's going to be a lot of big swings, homers or bust for the Reds, but I think they can get it done, and I like their advantages, so I'll lean the Reds.
People screaming at you for an NRFI here, Kyle. So whether you like it or not, just give them one.
Yeah, I'll say no run first inning. I say they score a run. Cincinnati gets a run in the first inning. How about that?
Yep. I want to, and if it doesn't come in, I want the Wild Sonny in here. Just absolutely annoyed that you put that on that.
And by the way, hit the like button. We have still under 100 likes, 300 people watching. What the hell is going on out here? Hit the like button.
We will get it going as we move down the card here. 9:21, 9:22, 7:10 first pitch. East Coast time. Tampa Bay and Boston. Perez will be on the mound versus Glass now. Boston taking a deep breath here. Maybe they did get at the Apple Watches and kick some trash cans yesterday. We'll see if it continues today. Favorites on the move up. Opened up at -141 offshore at Pinnacle in the favor of the Tampa Bay Rays. That's now 152. Other outlets have this game in the mid-160s and 9s across the board. Offensive, explosion continuation for Boston. Going up against Glass now, it's going to be some tough sledding here, Jason.
Yeah, I like the Rays here in the first 5 innings. You can get it like a money line around -150 and obviously -0.5, a little bit, around -110. Here's the problem. The Rays aren't a great offense, and sometimes they just don't score until late in the game. And it's kind of like a situation where the Mets, they don't score when DeGrom is pitching, and that's what could happen with any of these pitchers on the Rays because their offense really isn't that great. But obviously they have a better pitcher. Martin Perez going for the Red Sox doesn't get many strikeouts, very high with the walks, and doesn't really get many ground balls either, under 40%. So I like the Rays here, but you have to rely on them to get runs, and sometimes it doesn't happen.
Yeah, this is one of those where if you're looking for a full game, probably better to bet Boston full game than in the first 5 innings, because Glasnow is obviously a very, very good pitcher. We'll see what we get out of Martin Perez, a guy that can strike some guys out sometime, but really he's not one of those pedigree pitchers that I want to put my money on. It just fascinates me when I look at the lineups that Tampa Bay does produce. If they spent any money, like they would just be, but then again, that's what they do. They don't spend any money and still end up in the World Series. So who am I to say, hey, spend some money and get some batters in that environment? Kyle, what are we looking at from your perspective here in this Boston-Tampa Bay game?
Yeah, I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. This is one you've heard us say team total in first 5 innings a ton today. This is one where I'm going to take the plus money on. When I'm looking at an underdog who I think can get it done today, that I'm getting plus money on in a full game, I think Boston is one of those teams. Glasnow's not going to go 9 innings. It's not going to happen. And we know they have a good bullpen and they can piece it all together. They sort of created that system, right, of starting the relievers and 2 innings apiece and all this crap that they do, which drives me absolutely up a wall. But Perez is actually a sneaky value pitcher today in DFS, 6,700 on DraftKings. So if you're looking to pay up for, the Giolitos of the world, the Garrett Coles, et cetera, a guy like Perez, only giving up a 205 lifetime average to the projected lineup for the Rays tonight, 16 for 78, a 37, 33, 33, and 26 in terms of fantasy scoring his last 4 starts against Tampa Bay. So he's had success against this team, and I think Boston can get it done. I don't mind J.D. Martinez, a couple of the bats in the Red Sox lineup either. I lean Red Sox. It's one of my favorite underdog spots today.
There you go. And by the way, Ryan Johnson says, Kyle, you go to Beer Pond. Don't answer that. That is a question for Clear the Bases where we would like to get Major League Baseball questions, but if you're interested in something going on with a lot of people, I guess, with Kyle's life in the chat box today,
sure.
certainly make some things happen. And anything for the people out there. Anything for the good people out there. Let's keep moving it. The Tampa Bay Boston game doesn't really interest me because, again, you're getting a better pitcher, obviously, in Tampa Bay. Too early in the season to try to get down and make some money on that. But if I was looking towards doing anything, I guess a run line first 5 innings on Tampa Bay, but nothing really that I'm trying to dip into. I'll tell you one team that really stinks, and we did a future show, and this team has a single A lineup, and I saw Texas packed. 40,000 yesterday with the roof open. I'm like, dude, why are you guys going out to this ballpark to watch this team anyway? I have no idea. Toronto and Texas, 923, 924, opened up as a minus 120 in the favorite of the road team, the Toronto Blue Jays, now up to 129. Total in this game, 9.5, even some 10s starting to show their way across the board. And Jason, I'll start with you first in this game. I just look at the Texas lineup. Like, first of all, if you look at the Blue Jays lineup based on what they can do against Dunning, they should be okay. Dunning does have some decent numbers, but from a Texas perspective, look, I know Tanner Roark stinks, but if I'm batting against Tanner Roark, he's a Cy Young because I stink. You know what I mean? You have look at these ISO numbers. 101, 103, 0.088, 0.0. They're microscopic on this team. I don't know how you take Texas. What are we looking at here?
We've seen the Rangers already score 10 runs in a game before. It's possible. And like you said, Roark, not the best pitcher. And Dane Dunning with the White Sox last year was fantastic. He was a great pitcher, really great up-and-coming pitcher. 9 strikeouts per 9, walks 3.4, really limited the home runs. If you look at the slate, he doesn't allow much hard contact at all and gets ground balls at 45% of the time. I love Dunning in this spot, and it looks like we just got an extra base hit for the Tigers as I give some here we go. So it looks like we got runners on second and third with 1 out, 2-1. If we get those 2 runners on base or score, we will be good. But to go back to that, I love Dunning a lot. He's a great pitcher, and I wish he was still in the White Sox because he would have gotten so much more run support. But pitcher versus pitcher, Dunning's a better pitcher. And if you can stomach the Rangers lineup and hope that maybe they can get a couple of runs because Roark, he walked 4.34 batters per 9. He allowed 2.64 home runs per 9. Strikeouts were kind of low, and the ground ball rate was also low. The Rangers do have some power in their lineup. If they can just get a couple out there, I do think Dunning puts on a good performance, and the Rangers could win. So I know Donnie doesn't want to hear this, but I would lean towards the Rangers in the first 5 on plus money.
Now, see, the good part about this, Jason, is me and Kyle during football season, we were huge fans of like teams like the Jets team totals where they couldn't even take snaps. And we're looking at trying to cover like, I'm talking like 10.5 as a team total, which is out. That's like in Major League Baseball terms, a half of a run for the game is what your team total is. So we might have to introduce like the pain play of the day. If
we
you're
hit it
doing
yesterday.
if you are doing anything with Texas, that equates to pain for me. Kyle, take a look at this game. Any thoughts, any ways to get down on this one?
Well, I was hoping that would be down at 2.5, but it's 4.5. So I don't know that that's a good idea to do with the range. It's iffy, but Jason is right. So if you look at the Toronto lineup, there's only one of the 9 projected hitters today who have an advantage against Dunning. That is, you don't see that very often. That is pretty rare. It's negative across the board. So that's a big red flag for me right there. And he's right. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for Texas who have an advantage against Tanner Roark. And we all know Tanner Roark is terrible. The triple T's. Terrible Tanner Roark. We know that. Actually, it's only 2 T's and an R. It needed to be Tanner Tork. But anyways, I was on a roll. But I think Texas, again, I did this the first day. It came back. It was painful and it didn't work out. But I'll give it one more shot. I think Texas is a live dog today. And I do have some Dunning in DFS for some value. So I'm going to side with Jason here. It's risky, though, folks. It's pain. It's a lot of pain. So just know you got to take a lot of a leave after you make these picks.
No, exactly. There was some times during the football season, Jason, where we would have shows where you talk about pain on the Jets team totals, and also pain because half the shows I showed up blue, half the shows I showed up red on camera. So all good here, but behind the scenes where they actually make us look good now, where sometimes it was kind of funny to watch out. But there's more pain to be had on this Major League Baseball card as we continue Arizona and Colorado. I know a couple of the boys have some wagers on this game. 9-11, 9-12. Arizona's going to run out Weaver. Herman Marquez for Colorado opened up at -125 as a favorite for the Colorado Rockies. Down a little bit here at Pinnacle. It's in that 120 range, but primarily across the card, you can catch some 130s or catch some -123s. We are looking at an over-under, and hallelujah, opened up at 11. What? 10.5? People are going under in Colorado. Jason, help me out with this one.
Yeah, and I don't know what they're looking at because Luke Weaver.
I think the weather.
Yeah,
the weather's bad.
Maybe
this game might get called early, I think, is what I saw. I'm the deputy weatherman. Donnie's the chief.
47 miles in, 47 degrees, 9 mile an hour is blowing in, but there isn't really precipitation, maybe about 20%. They should be able to play this game, but this isn't what we looked at last week when the Dodgers were in town, where it was 70 to 75 degrees. Go ahead.
Okay.
So Weaver started 12 games last year. He went 1-9 in those 12 games. So he literally lost 9 of those 12 games. Like, you have to allow runs to lose a game, and that's what he did in 9 of them. Probably in a couple of the other ones as well that maybe he got lucky and Arizona scored a couple runs for him. But this is a guy that allows a ton of runs, and his the batting lineup does not get him runs either. No support whatsoever. 6.58 ERA last year. And he had a solid strikeout rate. He had a solid walk rate of just 3.12. Wasn't terrible, but he allowed 1.73 home runs per 9. And also batting average of balls in play was 350. And ground balls were very low, 32.3. This is a team where the Colorado, they have a lot of guys that hit hard contact in the middle of the order. And they also get balls in play and have a solid batting average of balls in play as well in that middle of the lineup as well. So I think we'll get plenty of base hits from the Rockies lineup. And we go look at German Marquez. Yeah, he struggled in Coors Field just a little bit more compared to being on the road, but he is a better pitcher than Weaver, and should get the job done against an Arizona lineup that really doesn't excite you at all. If you look at their splits and all their analytics, it's all red across the board. And so I like German Marquez to have a solid outing. I think the Rockies can definitely put a couple of runs on the board to get us a first 5 win at -120 for the Rockies.
Kyle, talk to me about Arizona and Colorado in the Rockies. Go ahead.
Both of these lineups have had tremendous success against these opposing pitchers, which is strange. So Jason was just talking about liking German Marquez, and he's actually a good deal on DFS because if you look at his performances, 61 points, 58 points, 52, that's 3 of his last 5. So he's getting the win, he's getting the strikeouts, and he's pitching the innings. But you also look at the projected lineup for the Diamondbacks. They're a career 40 of 108. That's a 370 average. The projected lineup for the Diamondbacks have off of German Marquez. And when you go to Luke Weaver, it's a little bit smaller, 19 of 52, but it's still a 365 average. and he's had a little success. This tells me this game should hit the over. That's where I'd want to lean. But me, I'm concerned about the weather. I heard there's going to be a little bit of snow, possibly rain, and I know they want to get the games in, so it wouldn't shock me if it starts to snow or rain in the 6th inning or the 7th inning. The game gets called. It's official after 5 innings. You have no chance of getting your over unless it's a wild explosion early on. So it's probably a game for me right now. I do agree with Jason. I think Colorado has a little bit better advantage just when you look at the splits for the hitters. I think you can stack both sides of the lineup. If there's not going to be a lot of people that play this game, if they see those weather reports, they will be shied away from not getting all of those at bats. So it'll lower the ownership lower than it normally would be for a Diamondbacks Rockies game at Coors Field. Slight lean to the Rockies for me. And if you think it's going to go all 9 innings, I would lean the over because both these teams can hit these guys.
Detroit now 3-1 here with the Twins. Big at bat here for Jonathan Scope in the bottom of the 5th inning. 2 outs, men on first and third. Another base hit would go a long way. Jason, what were you looking at as your team total? Was it 3.5 or 4 or 4.5 in this game?
It's 3.5. So I just need one more run.
Yep, see, looking good. As we talk about now, the over-under now juiced up to 8 in that game. A -1.5, -130 here for Detroit. Scope's got 2 strikes on him here, but it's always nice to be in the bottom of the 5th inning with one swing of the bat. You can cover your line here with just a base hit. So we'll see, and we'll track that game as it continues as we start the show. And again, I saw some people out there, hey, what's your red? Look, we came right on here. I don't even have a wager on this game. And I said I liked Detroit's team total over when they didn't even have a run, and neither did Jason. So we're not going to come on and BS.
And we took the plus money live bet, right? We took the plus money live bet because there's only one run down. So there you go. There's all sorts of value for you guys.
Value. So it looks like Scope's still at the plate here. Let's keep moving down here as we move on towards best bets and also to clear the bases, but a little bit more to clean up here in Major League Baseball. Sanchez and Darvish, San Francisco and San Diego. You saw Tatis go down yesterday. Looks like this might be an extended injury for one of the most talented young, influential players in baseball right now, so hopefully he gets back sooner than later. Now, look, I'm a Phillies fan. If Tatis is out, probably helps the Phillies somewhere down the stretch, but as a team total guy, that don't help me if I'm looking at the Padres. Need that guy in the lineup. Jason talked before the show about the splits with the Padres when he's in or out, hopefully back sooner than later. But in this game here, opened up at -199 as a favorite towards Darvish and the Padres, now down in that 180 range at Pinnacle. Across the board, 196s, 185s, over under at 8.5. Now down to 8 across the board. Jason, what are we looking at here out west between San Francisco and San Diego late night tonight?
Yeah, I think I like the over. You got Aaron Sanchez. We haven't really seen him pitch he didn't pitch last year at all. Coming back now. And then Darvish really kind of struggled a little bit in San Diego. And I don't know if it's being in San Diego that's going to make him maybe allow more home runs, but I'm assuming it's going to be being in San Diego that's going to allow him to allow some more home runs. So we saw last night the Giants hit some home runs against Morjon. I like I like the over 7.5 in this one. I think Darvish will struggle a little bit in terms of allowing some home runs. He'll get his strikeouts. He'll limit his walks, but home runs might be a little bit more than we're used to out of Darvish this year.
What are we looking at here in this game, Kyle? Any thoughts here with San Diego at home? High number, -181. Should they be able to win? Absolutely. Decent. San Francisco, to me, is always a sneaky lineup. I don't know if I like their lineup going up against, ace quality pitchers, but when they're going up against a mid-level pitcher, they're going to be able to hit. Do they hit tonight, or any looks here between San Francisco and San Diego?
I think they do. I think it's dog or pass. If you're going to bet the game, take the underdog. If you're not, pass this game. Take the value on the Giants. Jason touched on the team splits when Tatis is out of the lineup. And when you look at the Giants, they got these lefties, Crawford, Belt, Yastrzemski, Dickerson, and LaStella, all with nice advantages here up against you. I don't consider Darvish an elite pitcher. To me, he's always seems up and down. I've never thought, oh my God, this is the most dominant pitcher in the world. So I know he's the ace of the team, even though I think Snell's probably a little bit better, and he was the guy that pitched opening day. But I think it's a dog or pass spot here, and the totals, I'm going to stay away from that, but I think the Giants have a legitimate shot of winning with Tatis out of the lineup. So dog or pass for me.
Feast or famine in this next game with how I've it broken down. And one of the team totals I do like a little bit here is Chicago White Sox versus the Seattle Mariners, 925, 926. Opened up as a 140 favorite, still sitting around a 140 favorite. So not a lot of line movement here for the Chicago White Sox going up against Paxton on the mound, who is a lefty. Over under at 7.5. Looking at this number, Paxton, not a great year. only faced about 100 batters, but from the left side, 349, from the right side, 365 as they weighted on base average. ISO numbers elevated. We do know we have some batters that can hit. If we're taking a look, right-handed batters, it's going to be stacked tonight. We don't have the official lineup out here tonight, but Madrical's a righty, Robert's a righty, Abreu, Moncada, Mercedes, Grandal, Garcia, Vaughn, and also Hamilton, all righties. Looking at the team total, it's not that bad for a road team getting 9 full at bats. 3.5 minus 140. That's the way I'm digging on this game, Jason. Any thoughts between the Chicago White Sox and the Seattle Mariners in this one tonight?
You took the words right out of me. White Sox over 3.5 same. Yeah, I love that play. I know Tim Anderson's out, but the White Sox are still a lethal lineup, and they have so much young talent, and they're so impressive and lots of fun. So I agree. I think Giolito gets the job done for the White Sox. So, if you like the White Sox in the full game or minus 1.5, sure. But I think the best play for this game would be the White Sox getting 4 runs in this game. Paxton really struggled last year under pressure situations. So when the White Sox get runners on base, bad things happen, because he also had a batting average of balls in play of 365, and his LOB percentage was 55.1. So both those adding up, and also doesn't get high ground balls either. All those things adding up, it's not a good recipe for Paxton at all. So I do like the White Sox a lot in this one.
Yeah, a lot of people probably figuring on the White Sox tonight in this one. And Jay Pete says, Seattle bums, White Sox not bums. Sometimes it is just as simple as that, especially early in the year as we take a look at some of these numbers. Thank you guys. About 300 people watching here live with us on a mid-afternoon on a Tuesday, talking Major League Baseball in April. Fantastic stuff. I'll get to you here now, Kyle. Take a look at this game, Chicago White Sox and the Seattle Mariners. What you got here?
Yeah, and the chat box does a great job, too. There was a ton of stats I had for this game, and they've already told us 16-0 their last 16 games against lefties, the White Sox are. I mean, the numbers go on, and I have a feeling pretty soon that team total is going to move for the White Sox. I mean, it's already juiced, 140, 145 now, that 3.5, something like that. I like the White Sox team total. I like the White Sox halftime. I like the White Sox full-time. One of my favorite plays of the day. Stack him in DFS. Giolito dominates this lineup as well. Love the White Sox, love Giolito, love the lineup. All 3 bets. Rock and roll with the White Sox tonight.
All righty. Now's the time that we like the best bets on the card in Major League Baseball. Jason, we will start with you first. Give the people best bets and some bankers.
Yeah, so right now I have the Tigers over 3.5 team total. So need one more run. I wouldn't mind the Twins tying up 3-3 and give the Tigers an extra inning. But still got a long way to go. We'll watch this game as it goes. We do have Michael Fulmer on the mound for the Tigers, so that will definitely help the Twins score some runs as well, which could help get an extra inning in case we need it. But the one bet I have later tonight that you guys can still tell, I do like the Rockies. Whether whatever the weather is, I like the Rockies minus 120 in the first 5 innings on the money line in the first 5 innings. I went against Luke Weaver a ton last year and did cash for me a ton. This is a guy that's up a lot of hard contact, a guy that struggles with runners on scoring position, guy that just struggles under pressure situations, doesn't get many ground balls. So I think that there's potential for the Rockies to get some runs across the board. And if the weather is really bad, I do trust Marquez. In a colder little atmosphere, I trust Marquez more than Weaver in the first place. And again, if it goes 0-0 or the game gets snowed out or the game doesn't finish, it's just a push and we move on to the next day. Plenty more baseball. We'll be here for 7 months, so we've got more action tomorrow.
Look, I'm no scientist or whatever. When I see 49 degrees and we're talking snow out here, it's kind of scrambling my brains, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that game's freaking me out. That's me too. I don't know what to do with that game. I think I just have to stay away. Too much snow in April. I get it, man. That's painful. I feel bad for the people in Denver. And real quick, I know I say first half sometimes. Same as first 5. I didn't know I needed to explain that, but it's first 5, first half, whatever they're offering. I mean, come on, good Lord. Give me a break here. Love the White Sox team total today, over 3.5. Like the Phillies, over 3.5, and the Nationals to go over 3.5. And I'll take the first 5 for the Washington Nationals as well. So there's 4 for you. Let me know when you're wrong. We'll see you out in the Twitter sphere. And love you, boys. Great show today.
There you go. And what was your best bet? What was it? I didn't want to miss it.
White Sox team total, Nationals team total, Phillies team total. We'll go 3 of them right there. And I think the Nationals win the first half as well. I'm going to go with the debuting Washington Nationals and debutante week for the Masters. Here we go. Bobby McIntyre.
There you go. 3 games I had on my card today. And I think, I like the looks in each one of them. New York Yankees team total over 4.5. The Mets team total over 4.5. The Chicago White Sox team total over 3.5. But I do like to narrow it down to one, so we're not looking all over the board, just trying to, get in on something. Done very well so far to start the season. We're going to continue it as well. This will make Jason very happy. But the good part about this as well is if this hits, fantastic. And my team can still win and I can cheer it on here. I'm going with the New York Mets tonight. 4.5 is the team total. Minus 113 is the number I got. Not really sold on Chase Anderson. Now, if we're going to look from a day-to-day early season, oh, my God, look what Matt Moore did. 2 runs over, 5 or 6 innings. He was sensational. The Mets, I thought, were a little bit behind the curve yesterday because they didn't start Major League Baseball the way the rest of everybody else did. You sort of had to work your way in. Maybe you still had those opening day jitters. You weren't able to get the win. You blew the game. They should be okay tonight because their bats match up with Chase Anderson. If I'm looking from a plus perspective, and this is the first time I'm going to go with a National League team in a National League ballpark because now the pitcher is going to have to bat. But seemingly from the first 2 to 3 days of Major League Baseball, it looks like maybe we don't need any batters here for the pitchers because it looks like most of them are raking. Nimmo, 415. Conforto 411, Alonso 364, Smith 414, McNeil 377, Davis 344. Those are weighted on base averages for the Mets versus right-handed pitching from last year. They'll be able to hit tonight. And hey, 6-5 winner for the Phillies. We can all go home happy. But my banker best bet of the day today is going to be the New York Mets team total over 4.5 minus 113. So let's wrap up the show here with clear the bases as we get to the chat box out here. And a lot of people had some interesting questions as we all do. I mean, talking about family members out here and having fun and pronunciation of names. So a lot of good stuff. If you guys have any questions, just let them fire there. We'll have some fun with that stuff. But I'm looking forward to it. It's a pretty good Major League Baseball card. And the fun thing about baseball, as we do the show Monday through Friday, you're going to have a lot of games. Some start in the day, some get started at night. Excited and for this action-packed and stuff. You guys are sticking around, over 300 people watching with us. The support is going to grow as baseball turns more and more of the focus, as now we have college basketball in our rearview mirror. Hopefully you guys won some money last night or even throughout the tournament, but baseball kicks over. We're still going to have a lot of really good programming here with NBA stuff, so a lot of good stuff to look forward to on Sports Book Review. But it is what it is. Kyle, any thoughts on tonight before we get out of here on what you're looking at and maybe some of these long shots or anything that you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always looking for plus numbers. I'm a degenerate that way, right? I just love to do that. And as I just start to look at them a little bit, again, I really do think Boston's a live dog. I think the Giants are a live dog, but White Sox and Phillies team totals, I love that. And I'm going to take the shot on the Nationals. I know they haven't played yet, but I think they're chomping at the bit. They're going to come in there feeling motivated today. I think the Nationals get it done in like that first 5 and that team total. And be careful. Look, the sexiest game on this slate's that Rockies-Arizona game. I mean, by far, and just the matchups and runs and points. But that damn weather, the snow might change everything. Rain, snow. So I'd really keep a close eye on that if you're going to attack it.
By the way, here's a question comes up in the chat box. Philly Sports Passion 85. Who hits a home run tonight in the Mets-Phillies game? Jason, I'll start with you first. Give you some numbers here. Conforto plus 160, Hoskins 310, Alonso 210, Harper 370, Lindor 330, McCann 370, Realmuto 700. Any thoughts on who possibly can go yard on either side tonight? And look, I'm not going to hold it against you if you pick a Philly that's going to go yard here. So go ahead.
Yeah, there's no chance of taking a Philly, but I do think Dom Smith is the guy that gets the home run. So we'll go there. Dom Smith.
Fourth, yeah, there you go. Dom Smith plus 410 in this one. Tito Morel says Atlanta or the under today. Kyle, I'll start with you on this one. Atlanta or the under. Which one would you take if you had to take a side? The Atlanta Braves coming in with the plus 106 or just the under 8 in that game or 7.5, depending on where you're shopping?
I guess I'd probably lean more to the under. Feel like, sure, if I'm going to go that route, I think Scherzer shuts down Atlanta more likely than Smiley shuts down the Nats. So I'd say an under type game, 3-1, 3-2, 4-2, somewhere in that range.
And by the way, just looking at this Phillies and a New York Mets game, you get some ridiculous numbers on home run props. Again, we're not talking about DeGrom back on the mound. Adam Hazley 10 to or Gene Segura 12-1, Didi Gregorius 8-1. Like $100 bet's going to pay you really $800 if Didi hits a home run. That's pretty good stuff out here is coming from it. But that is what it is today. Thank you guys for tuning in. A lot of fun, and we will be back tomorrow. We're going to have a 4-man crew tomorrow as Chelsea Messenger does join the show with us. A lot of fun, good stuff here on sportsbookreview.com. A lot of really good things taking place. If you missed out yesterday, please go back and check the replay. Kyle and Flash going over the Masters card. That comes up this week. A rite of passage, right? We have the NCAA basketball final. We have Major League Baseball opening up, and then you have the Masters, and off we are all far into spring. Thanks once again for tuning in. If you missed the show, you can always go back and check the replay. If you need more, sbrpicks.com/MLB. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz, also with Kyle Purviance. We are sportsbookreview.com. This was your Major League Baseball show, and good luck on those wagers tonight.